going to learn when Y will make the long I sound and the long E sound when it's at the end. And here's the easy peasy rule. When Y is the only vowel at the end, let me see if I can say that better. When Y is at the end and it's the only vowel, it says I. When Y is at the end and it's not the only vowel, it says E most of the time. I bet I can say that even better. The first part is fine. When Y is at the end and it's the only vowel, it says I. Here's a whole bunch of examples. Buy, cry, try, shy, my. So you'll see that Y is at the end and it's the only vowel because Y is a vowel if it's not the first letter. If it's anywhere else in the word, for the most part, it's a vowel. So when Y is the only vowel and it's at the very end, it says I. If it's at the end of a longer word, a multi-syllable word, it will usually say E. Like happy, taffy, pretty, candy. Do you see that? So Y is at the end and it's not the only vowel. There's two vowels at least that don't touch. When Y is at the end of a longer word or a multi-syllable word, it will usually say E. Sometimes I. So you might see a word like satisfy or can't think of another one. But there are a few words out there where Y will say, oh, here's one. Multiply. There are a couple words out, not more than a couple, where Y says I at the end of a multi-syllable word. But for the most part, I would say in the 90s percentage, for the most part, almost always it will say E at the end. So for spelling, if you hear I at the end, never put an I. So even, except for high and some foreign words. But when we're spelling English, American words, I isn't allowed at the end, only on high. If you hear I at the end, like my, try, buy, cry, shy, it's going to multiply, satisfy, it's going to be a Y. Same with E. If you hear E at the end, spell it with a Y. Now, E's are allowed at the end of words, but they're usually silent, right? Sometimes in short words, you will hear them like me, he, she, but at the end of longer words, E's at the end are almost always silent. So if you hear E at the end of a multi-syllable word, don't spell it with an E. Spell that sound with a Y. Taffy, pretty, candy, happy. If you hear E at the end of a multi-syllable word, spell it with a Y. You with me? Should we try it? All right, let me share my screen here. All right, our first word together is midi. Midi. So we have I, m, I, d, e. I, m, I, d, e. I wonder what just happened. Let me just fix my color. Consonants. I, m, I, d, e. Vowels. I want this I to say I. Can that I say I in that spot? Yes, it can, because there's a vowel in the next one or two spots right there. That's why we put these dots under the lines and why we put the consonants first. We have to spell the vowels last so that we can see what we're working with, because vowel sounds have many different spellings. For the I sound, we always start with an I. We always start with a single vowel, and if it will work, stop, you're done. There are a couple different ways to spell I, like this, for instance, but that's going to be, that we learned that in I month. That's a recording that you can go watch if you want. But you're going to start with an I first, and if it works, stop, you're done. And it works here because there's a vowel one or two doors away, so we don't have to do anything else with that I. For I midi, I want this I to say, I want to spell the I sound. So I always start with an I. There is another way to spell I, if you can believe that, but it's not very rare, but it's pretty rare. This is definitely the most common way to spell I. I'm going to go with 97% of the time this will say I, especially in the middle syllable, which is also in I month. But for this lesson, I want to do the doubling rule here. So for this I, even though it's in the middle syllable, I'm going to go ahead and double this D. So that a lot of people weren't here for that I in the middle syllable lesson. So this double D will allow this I to say I, so that that I does not have a vowel in the next one or two spots. And then for the E sound at the end, we're going to use a Y. Okay, that was a lot of information, so we're going to go nice and slow. I want you to try I, binny, and I'm going to do it right along with you. I, binny. I, b, I, n, e. I'll let you get a head start, and then I'll jump in. Put it in the chat if you want. I, binny. Oh, that's right. Yeah. I, binny. Good, Maria. Yep. Nice. Good, Sarah. Good, Anne-Marie. Yeah. So that was a lot of information, but you're soaking it up, aren't you? You're like, I got this. Don't you worry. I'm picking up what you're throwing down. I, binny. Nice, Joseph. Very good, Miss Oppenheimer. Okay, consonants. I, b, I, n, e. I. Can this I say I here? Yes, because there's a vowel one or two doors away. So it's perfect. I. Can this I say I here? No, because there's a vowel one or two doors away. That would force it to say I. I don't want it to say I want it to say I. That requires two consonants after it. If there's not two, make two. For the E sound at the end, I'm not going to use an E. That's usually silent. I'm going to use a Y. I, binny. Okay? Number 2, zai. Z, I. Consonants, Z, I. I'm not going to use an I here to spell the I sound because American or English words don't end in I. So to spell the I sound in short words, or at the end of longer words for that reason, for that purpose, we're going to spell it with a Y, zai. We always spell the I sound at the end with a Y, never with an I, no matter how long the word is. Okay, your word is phi. Knowing that, how would you spell phi? Now, it's not a th. If you're having a hard time hearing if it's a f or a th, it's not a th. Even though now you totally know how to spell it. Good. Phi. Yeah. Yep. So we have a consonant F, and then our I spelling at the end is with a Y. Good. Yep. Number 3. Oh, we're getting kind of challenging already. Ipidemi. Ipidemi. I. P. I. D. I. M. E. 4-syllable word. We can tell because there are 4 vowels that don't touch. Consonants. I. P. I. D. I. M. E. Vowels. I. Can a regular I say I there? Yes, because of that vowel 1 or 2 doors away. I. Can a regular I say I here? It could officially, but for this lesson, we're going to rely on the tap 2 rule, okay? For those who weren't here in I month and don't know that I in the middle syllable can say I. We're going to keep it simple. We're going to follow the tap 2 rule on all of these words. So, in order for this to say I, it has to have 2 consonants after it. If there's not 2, make 2. I. Can this I say I here? We're going to go ahead and put 2 M's after it. so that it's nice and comfortable saying I with two consonants after it. And then E at the end is spelled with a Y. This is what we're focusing on today in this lesson, is spelling the long I sound at the end and the long E sound at the end. That's our reading hack for the day. So this is what we're making sure that we're learning. The rest is just bonus. Okay, good. Got both D's and both M's. Amazing. Okay, your word is tiffy. Tiffy. I-s-I-t-I-f-E. And this is not a TH. There's no TH in that word. tiffy. Tiffy. Take your time. Tiffy. That's what I'm talking about, Rowan. Tiffy. Oh, Anne-Marie, I like how you knew that that could be a C right there. So if you chose to put a C or an S, both are going to be correct for this word. Nice. Okay. Consonants. It could be a C or an S right here, because C can say S if the next letter is an E, I, or Y. The fact that you knew that is brilliant. Well done. So either one of these can be just fine in that spot. Wait a minute. Yeah. E. Vowels. For the I sound, can I say I there? Yes, because of the tap 2 rule. There's a vowel right there. So he's perfect. Can he say I here? No, not yet. Has to have 2 consonants after it. If there's not 2, make 2. Can he say I there? Not yet. It has to have 2 consonants after it. If there's not 2, make 2. Now he's nice and happy. E at the end is spelled with a Y. E sound at the end is spelled with a Y. Look at all these brilliant answers I'm getting in the chat. My goodness. Y'all should be pretty amazed with yourself, because I am. All right, let's try the word thry. I'm going to have you do this one on your own. Thry. I. Go ahead and put it in the chat. Thry. And there's no F. It's not fry like fish. It's like thought or think. Thry. Yeah. Yep. You guys remembered. So here we have our consonants. Th and I at the end is never spelled with an I, it's spelled with a Y. I mean, when I say never, you are going to see some words from different languages that have an I at the end. But they are from different languages of origin. Okay, Japanese, Italian, Scandinavian. American words, only hi is the only one that's allowed to end in I. And that's just because it's short for hello. Okay, last one, I think. Should we do a kind of a hard one? All right. Crippin' drippy. Crippin' drippy. Spell the K with a C. K-r-I-p-i-n-d-r-i-p-i. Crippin' drippy. Crippin' drippy. Crippin' drippy. Crippin' drippy. Crippin' drippy. Crippin' drippy. Crippin', drippy. Hard one, I know. Okay, good. So consonants, we have k, I, p, I, n, d, I, p, e. This is why we separate sounds at the beginning of every class, because we can't spell unless we can do that. That's so vitally important. Okay, we have to be able to separate these sounds and spell the consonants before we can attempt spelling those vowels. Okay, so for the I right here, can he say I there? Nope, he can't. There has to be two consonants after him. Not two, make two. Now it can. I, can he say I there? Yeah, he can, because there's already two consonants after it. We don't have to double the N, we don't have to do anything because there's already two right there. It's perfectly happy in that spot. I, right here, another I. Can he say I here? No, there's a vowel right there. That's going to require us to add another P so that there are two consonants after it. Now it can say I. For the E sound at the end, we're spelling it with a Y. Crippin', drippy. Crippin', drippy. If you put a K here, that's okay. That's okay, because I haven't taught you when to use C and when to use K yet. That's coming up in another lesson. Well done, my goodness. All right, last one. I know I said that one was the last one, but we have just another minute, so I want to give you kind of a medium to easy one. Flitty, flitty, and that's it. Not a TH at the beginning. Flitty, flitty. Flitty with not a TH at the beginning. Flitty. My top teeth are going over my bottom lip. Flitty. Now that seems easy, doesn't it? After crippin' drippy, you're like, oh, flitty, bring it, bring it. Whereas at the beginning of this class, you might not have known how to spell flitty. But now you not only know how to spell it, but it's easy. Look at what you've done. Yes, so we have it, E. You know that there has to be a double T there. You know that E at the end is spelled with a Y. You know this stuff now, my friends. Yeah, it could be spelled like this if it were a Greek word. So smart. Look how much you know. I hope that you are feeling good about your knowledge. Even if those harder ones, the longer ones were challenging, they're supposed to be challenging. You're not supposed to be, I'm not requiring perfection. I don't even expect it. I'm expecting you to learn. And we just practice to practice learning. Okay? And even if you didn't get it, if you got it when I explained it, if you're like, oh yeah, I knew that, that means you're learning. And that's beautiful. Perfection is not required for progress. Just practice. All right, my friends, hopefully I'll see you over in the reading class here in the next minute. If not, have a wonderful night, and I'll see you Wednesday. Bye, my friends.